Hello and welcome back to the Rag Yaman Sitar Lesson Series. I'm Will Marsh, and here on lesson 25 we're going to start working on the Alap in Rag Yaman. And we've covered a lot in this Rag Yaman series, and for the final portion I'll be teaching you the Alap. And if you do not yet know, what is Alap? Alap is the very first unfolding of the raga in performance and development. It's very reflective and meditative, and it has no metered pulse. And the alap is very fully improvised, but it still follows a structure. And even though there isn't a metric meter, there's still a type of rhythm and pulse to how the phrases work and how much space there is between a different note and how long you dwell on a note in a given raga. So this is really the nuance and subtlety of alap, or all of these delicacies of the phrasing. And the reason that we're working on the alap last is because in many ways it's the most challenging part of this music. And that is because to play the alap, you really have to have a confident, commanding understanding of the raga and be capable of elaborating solely on the melody. In performance, an alap can be anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour, depending on the mood of the performer and their skill level. Now, traditionally, the alap has always been taught back and forth from the teacher to the student, and it's traditionally hasn't been notated, so I'm going to try and give you that experience of learning back and forth. And with all this said, it's just going to be a fun and rich experience working on the alap in Rag Yaman. Now, let me play the first section that we're going to work on today for you first, before we start talking about structure and breaking it down. Okay, so you've heard a little segment of what the alap is like there, and there's really this form that I mentioned within the alap. And how I want to approach it is there's so much room for ornamentation, and that's really a part of what makes the alap beautiful, but I want to keep it a little simple for you so that you can see the structure and make sure you understand how it works. And the goal is to have a clear knowledge of how the alap is structured first, and then we can add more ornamentation. So this first section that you heard me play, which we're going to learn today, it focuses around sa. All of my phrases come back to the note sa, and the lowest note that I play is tivra ma here, and the highest is re here. So this is kind of our range here between tivra ma, re, and sa. And the kind of rule with alap is we want to gradually add the notes so that we're always expanding and elaborating. And so this is the first concept I want you to think about with the alap, is how can we use just 2 or 3 notes, make a few phrases, add another note, and build in that way. So let's jump into the first phrase. Our first phrase, so I'm playing ni from dha, and I want you to give a nice da stroke in the alap, we're only playing da. We're not doing any da ra because we're not playing rhythmic patterns, so we use all da. So our first phrase, ni, and then another strike, ni, sa, sa. This is our first phrase, ni, ni, sa. Listen one more time. Try it with me here. 1, 2, ni, 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 sa, and then a strike on sa, sa. Now for our second phrase, we're doing the same pattern, but we're ending with ni, re, sa. So listen to the second part. So putting these two together, we have Great, try this with me, and you'll notice, I'm playing the chakari in between and sometimes the sa string, and instead of breaking it down every time, I want you to really use your ear to hear those. It's something that is really done back and forth without me telling you every little thing. You want to be able to kind of hear and feel into it. So let's start with this first phrase. Here we go. 1, 2. Ni, 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 sa, sa. Second phrase. Great. Now for the next one, we're going to play da sa ni ni da pa, and that looks like with the left hand from the da fret. So what I have after I play da sa ni, a couple strokes on ni, and then ni da pa. So we have a meend from ni to da, ni da pa, and then the first finger is here for pa. So check out this phrase again. Yeah, this will be our third phrase. Da sa ni da pa, and then strike on pa. Try this with me. 1, 2. Sa ni da pa, pa. One more time with me. 1, 2. Great. After this, we're going to take a crinton. Second finger first, and first on ma, so ma. Try this crinton, here we go. One more time. Now after the crinton, Great, this is our closing phrase. Crinton, ma, Dapma, ma, ni, da, ni, sa. One more time. Dapma, ma, ni, da, ni, sa, sa. Let's do this last pattern from da sa ni da pa da ma ma ni da ni sa. Here we go. 1, 2. Sa ni da pa pa da ma ni da ni sa sa. Great, so we have this whole first section. Let's go ahead and play it all together from the beginning. Starting from ni, da, ni, sa. Try it with me. 1, 2. Third phrase. Great, now you have a feel for the whole structure, and you may note that I sometimes might change a little bit of an inflection on a phrase, and with Alap it's really hard not to because it's such an improvised and fluid style. So for the last portion of this lesson, I want to play phrase by phrase with time for you to respond, because I'm naturally going to do variations on these passages, but that's just kind of the way that it is played. So I'll play a phrase and give you time to respond for this last time so we can get this back and forth going. But the essential structure is still always the same, and that's what I want you to start to see today, is not just a bunch of isolated phrases, but a bigger picture of how are these phrases going, what is the theme, and where do they lead. So let's try this back and forth. Here we go. Now your turn. Second phrase. Great. Third phrase. And final phrase. Great, so this is the beginning in our journey learning the Alap. I want you to work on these phrases, work on really finding good intonation. We want our intonation to be perfect as we play Alap. And think about these phrases, think about the structure of them, memorize them, and get fluid practicing them, and you'll see that little variations will come. You might not play them exactly the same every time, but it is important that you play them in tune and that you start to get comfortable with the way that they go and getting really precise with them. So that will finish our lesson 25 today, starting to learn Alap. We'll have a few more lessons with Alap as we continue, and I'm so grateful to have you joining me here. It's really my passion to be passing this music down. If you haven't already, liking and subscribing will keep you notified as classes are released. And also something cool I'm offering is a chance to do a Zoom class with me where I can really hear how you're playing, and especially something like Alap will give me a chance to hear these phrases being played in real time, and you can click on a link below that will give you a chance to do this. It's totally free, a short lesson with me, so that we can work together and I can hear how you're doing and what you need. So again, it's been great having you. I'll see you on the next class.